to everyone out there in the virtual world. I'm your girl, Quitney Pryor, coming to you from the almighty state of Texas. And I am here with you wanting to talk to you about the Connectional Youth Ministry. We have their ultimate director for the CME Church. We have the one, the only, the true Reverend Cyreeta Collins here in our midst. And she's going to be talking to us all about what this ministry is, what it does, why it's important, and the connection that we will be able to gain together during CYAC 21. So again, my name is Quitney Pryor. I am the 8th Episcopal District Young Adult Representative. And I want for you guys to really understand the reason for this purpose is just to share more education with you, more knowledge with you about who we are and what we do and what it is that we are trying to conquer as a ministry. So at this time, I'm going to pass the torch to Reverend Cyreeta. Go ahead and bring us some greetings.
Well, greetings, everyone. Hey, family. I bring you greetings from the Connectional Youth Ministry of the CME Church. My name is, again, Reverend Cyreeta Collins, but AKA all the young people call me Reverend CC. So I'm excited to be here. I hail from the 7th Episcopal District. Whoop, whoop. And so I'm just excited to be here to share, to help people to understand a little bit more about the youth ministry of the CME Church and why I feel like it is the absolute best ministry in the church and I have the absolute best job that there is in the denomination.
Wonderful, wonderful. Look, I am intrigued. I am tuned in. I am plugged. Let's get to question number one. So all the people want to know, what they want to know is, what is the mission and the vision of CYM?
Reach young people ages 12 to 17. And so when we say reach, it's a clear acronym revealing the life-changing power of a relationship with Jesus Christ, equipping youth workers with the resources to build effective ministries, advocating for the spiritual, social, and political needs of young people, communicating the gospel in a culturally relevant manner, families and their communities. And so that's why we exist. And that's what we want all of our work to be focused on as we reach not just the young people on a connectional level, but it really is important that young people are a part of everyday life in our church, from the local church to the district, to the region, and then on a connectional level.
You said some very, very key things. You talked about the importance of them working on a local level, on a region level, on a connection level, but not just them working, but what type of work that it is. They're doing social work, they're doing justice work, they're doing spiritual work. And that's what it really does incorporate, is us making them a well-rounded individual. Do you see the seeds that you plant and as they grow up and what that investment looks like?
Yeah, it's important that we realize that the seeds that we grow from young ages, they really do materialize. And so I'm the proud product of the investment that was made in my life. So my life has really come full circle when I really look at youth ministry. When I was a young person, so long ago, I served as a youth vice president, right? So back in 1988, I was elected a youth vice president, went on to chair that group of people. Then I transitioned over into young adult ministry as the Connectional Young Adult president. Shortly after my term was ending, I actually kind of like in the middle of that, I picked up being an interim youth director. And then after my term as young adult president for 8 years, I then moved over to being the Connectional Youth Ministry Director. So I now get the opportunity to lead the young people that I once was. Yes. When I didn't have a director like myself. And so I take it personal that this is just important. And I feel like, if we're not reaching young people, now people are, I know we focus on the seniors of our church, but the reality is that if the young people are not trained to love our church, if they're not trained how to lead our church, there just eventually won't be a church, right? Yeah. And so that's why I feel like it's important that I sow those seeds into these young people, help youth leaders to understand you have an important role. It's not just a babysitting role, but you have a role to help invest in the lives of young people and get to watch them be leaders. And I don't want them to wait until they get 25 to be in leadership. I was allowed to be in leadership when I was 12. Like I was like over our regional youth ministry as a president, in my teenage years. And so I think if we train them now, they will be the ultimate leaders
Hey, I'm so with it. I'm so with it. I am just loving this, y'all, right now. If you don't have a youth leader like this, hashtag get some. Because you want someone who is in your corner, backing you up, showing you what you need and what you don't know that you need in order to help you to get to where it is that you need to be. So take heed, y'all. Take heed. Reverend CC, I got a question. Tell me, how does the youth ministry help to realize the mission of the Connectional CME Church?
So I feel, we're talking about making disciples, right? And so serving others and the community and representing the world and helping them to understand their relationship with Christ. And I really believe, back to what I said before, that, in order for us to, we have to take an approach that involves our young people, right? So a lot of times we do things, we have committees, we have events, we have all these things, but we forget the young people. And so one of the things that you kind of say that you don't think you're really saying is you kind of say that you're really not important yet. And so when you get important, we'll invite you. But I want young people to understand that if you're not invited to be at the table, bring your own chair. Go into the room, bring your own chair. And if there's no room, to say, excuse me, can I just sit here, or wait in the side of the room? And as soon as the opportunity comes, seize the moment and let people know that this is your church too. 12 to 17-year-olds, the CME church is their church too. And I want them to learn how to love it, grow in their relationship with Christ. And I think, we always say that where your money is, that's where your heart is. And I believe that is saying the truth for the youth ministry. If you have ministry and there's no budget there, there's no money for those things, we just kind of we plan haphazardly. All of us say, oh, we need a youth program. Oh, let's put it together for next week. No, I think youth ministry deserves the same kind of strategic planning, the same kind of investments that every other ministry, because at the end of the day, if they don't feel that the CME church has a place for them, young people will go off to school, they'll graduate, and they will never come back. And I want to make sure that that revolving door of the CME church doesn't keep happening, that we help young people to find their place in the CME church, whether it's, whether they're working in their local church or working in their district or their region, or even on a connectional level, that they have a place in this church and we can all be at the table. We can all respect each other at the table, but young people need to be at the table as well.
I like what you say when you tell the youth, bring your own chair to the table. If there's no chairs available, just stand on the wall, but still be present.
Yes.
And still listen and still learn. It makes me wonder, what are some of the assumptions that the church has that they need to release in order to grow into discipleship of our youth?
I think the number one is thinking that young people want to take over the church. I think that's one of the main things. And I don't think that young people want to take over the church. I believe they just want to be a part of it, right? And so I think if they were a part of the process, if they weren't just, oh, we need some young people to be a part of something, let me go invite one or two. But if they were really back to the table, if they were at the table from the very beginning, they would feel like they have a part. And so they wouldn't have to feel the threatening situation, right? I think we need to realize that we won't be here always. I'm not going to always be here. But when I leave, I want to leave an imprint with some people who are coming up behind me, that I want them to be better than me, right? I want them to be so engaged that if they're not in the room, you'll miss them.
Yeah.
And not be the afterthought of, oh, wait, did we need a young person? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Let me get one. No, to be a part. I think understanding control. I think a lot of times we want to control the whole narrative. And again, they have a story. The things that young people go through these days are nothing like what we went through, and even nothing like what our parents and grandparents went through. But I believe that they have a story as well. I believe now that we're in the digital age, there is absolutely no way we cannot have these young people be a part. This is the world that they live in, right?
Exactly.
My grandson is 3 and he knows how to work a tablet and get on YouTube and everything else. And I think because this is the world that they live in, I think it's just been designed that in this time that we have to rely on our younger members of our denomination to help us to come up with the time so we can compete with all the other people. Because if we're not available on social media, if our churches are not having digital ads, if those things are not working, we're going to get left behind. but
Yeah.
it's not necessary if we would allow the people who have gifts and talents in those areas to just soar in what they're called. We say we want them to grow into who God has called them to be, but yet we want to stifle them and only want them to grow to a certain point. And then when we're ready, we relinquish control and then we let them go. But by that time, we've already pretty much destroyed whatever was in front of it. Or when they come along, it's like they got to kind of dismantle everything.
Yeah.
So they can even be heard. So I just think it's really important that we really allow our young people to have a voice. I mean, when you see the Black Lives Matter, young people are out there protesting.
Yes, they are.
Young
Well,
people are out there,
proud.
they're involved in social justice, and our adults are not, and so young people are not afraid to talk. They're not afraid to be out in the community. They're not afraid to let their voice be heard. And I think that we have to allow them the opportunity to not just be heard in the community, but to even advocate for themselves as it relates to them being an active part of the CME church.
You have dropped so many nuggets. I don't know that I can even recap or capture half of all that you just said. Let me backtrack. You talked about being a part, and that goes into that inclusion piece. And we're in that season of diversity and inclusion and acumen and getting it all together. And to say, hey, that inclusion is not happening at the local church, well, that is something that we need to, be working on and addressing, and going back into what is the imprint that you're leaving on your church. That's all a part of it. Is if I have a seat when I'm 4, then I have a seat when I'm 40. And so that is all a part of that learning, that nurturing, that growing, which is exactly what it is that you are instilling into our children. So phenomenal.
Amen.
I have to ask the question next then, since we're doing all this work, and when you think about what small changes can greatly improve the legacy and growth of the youth ministry in the local church.
So I think that really investing in the youth ministry of your local church, I think that's the main thing. I think putting the right people, putting the right people in place.
Be careful.
People who have a heart and a passion for ministering to young people, I think is key. I think if you don't like kids, I just don't think you should be over the youth ministry. I'm sorry. I know you've been doing it for a while. God bless you, but you just can't. You can't even relate to them. So finding people, I think allowing people who have that gift, that calling to work with young people, to be in place. And if there's not a person in place, I am an advocate for training up young people to lead young people.
Hey,
all they need is an advisor to be over them. But we have some strong young people. Like, our young people are so gifted and talented. How is it that they can lead organizations in school, but they can't lead them in the church?
Well,
I don't understand. They can be over all these committees. They can be over the Honor Society. They can be on the French Club. And I mean, they can do all these things. But when it comes to church, they can only read the prayer and do scripture. And it's not every church, but it's a lot of churches. And when you look around your church and you don't see young people there, I would say evaluate what you have going on. And I know we've seen the movie where it says, if you build it, they will come. We're not building, right? So I think that it's important that we look around our area. I think community engagement is important, right? Look around your area. What is the need in your area? If you don't have young people that's already actively involved in your church, but they live next door, they live across the street, or they live a mile away, why are we not inviting them to be a part of our ministry? They don't have to join at first, but I think if we show them love, with love and kindness have I drawn thee, right? So we show them love and kindness and show that they have a place in the church. I believe that their hearts will be turned, and then we let God do the rest of the work. But they have to be involved. There have to be things that are reaching them. And so you have to look, what is the need? Partnering with the local high school, a local middle school, and see what is the need, and then we have one thing that we always miss is the people who live in our homes. Oh, they don't come to church, but why don't they come to church? Is it that, I hate to say it, is your service just not reaching them? It could be possible. Have you ever asked them what kind of music they would like to hear? Maybe one Sunday is a contemporary Sunday. I'm not against the hymns. I love hymns. But for young people, they have to feel like, okay, we hear all what we like. we hear what you like, and then they have a better appreciation. You can't just say, no, this is the way it's going to be. That doesn't fly, because at the end of the day, they're going to go somewhere where they can hear what they want to hear, right? They can participate in activities that we don't have. And I think we can do that, but it just takes us thinking outside the box. It takes us planning, actually sitting down at the table and saying, what is it that you want to do? You know, what are you interested in? And let me help you figure that part out. I think we do a disservice as youth leaders not to make sure that our young people are prepared for life after high school.
Wow.
That's the guidance counselor's job. That's what we say. But what if the guidance counselor is not good?
Mm-hmm.
And why does every child have to go to a 4-year college? Why? If that's not where I want to go, if that's not what I need to do. And so I think as youth leaders, we need to make sure that we're helping them with college and career fairs, right? We're helping them to see, what is it that you want to do with your life after high school? But don't wait till they get to 12th grade to figure that out.
At that point, it's a little bit too late.
It's too late.
A little bit too late. You brought up, like, as you were speaking, the key word that came to my mind was investment.
Yes.
We are investing in the future. We are building them up, teaching them what they need to do, what can they do, helping them see what's within them that maybe as a director you can already see. So you're just, like you just said, you are that guidance that might not be provided elsewhere at home, at school, but the church should be providing that.
Absolutely.
When you think about that investment factor and the digital world that we're in right now, the virtual world that we're in right now, how can you help a church to plan and prepare for this generation of our future? Because to what you just said, they're on a whole other playing field, right?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, if you haven't had young people involved in the midst of COVID, I mean, we've been 10 months outside of our church buildings, but if our young people have not been there, and I'm not talking about just the 1 or 2 that you always see, but if they're not a part, I think this is a great time to get them a part. Mm-hmm. I think creating a media ministry is something that is realistic. That social media team, I think, is realistic. These young people can build apps, they can do websites, they can do animation, they can make the pastor an animated character while the pastor is preaching. This is the kind of things, like, our young people are doing coding in middle school. And so why are we not having them be a part? You know, we have artists that are among us. And so I realized, if we could find out, let's say you have 10 young people, have a conversation and find out, what is it that they already do? What are they doing in their spare time? What are they involved in at school? And what is it? How do they see themselves helping the church? And then let them help you. They can maneuver around social media like it's not nothing. And so you have to know your audience. You know, if your church is trying to reach young people, you're not going to reach them on Facebook, because they're not there no more. The moment we got there, they left.
That's for us. That ain't for them no more.
No more. You know, so now they're on TikTok. Now you can Snapchat with them. They're on Instagram. Now everybody's moved to Clubhouse and House Party and Twitch. They've moved. And so if we're trying to reach them, they're somewhere else. And if we want to reach their friends, we need them to reach their friends. You know, so I think having them being involved, our young people, we have some young people who are photographers, who are going to, you know, doing videography, or who want to go on to be movie producers. I believe that they should be a part of that media ministry, because they know it, right? They got update. I mean, you can go in the store and you can get a regular laptop, or you can get a gaming laptop. Mm-hmm. These young people, this is what they do. So I think having them be a part will helping us to navigate how to make our services streamlined, you know, making sure that we're presenting our best foot forward. Our young people can help us with that. And so I think in the virtual world, that's important. That's one way that we can get them to be involved. You know, why are we not having them to help us to pre-record, add the graphics and all that kind of stuff? I think that's important, you know, and then also building relationship with them. I think in this day, we have lost community. And I think that until we get community back, or for some people building relationship, we're not, you know. So I think now was the time. We should have been did it, but now we can start over tomorrow, right? And so now we need to figure out, how do we build community? Small group ministry is important. And I think it goes over to, it's not just for adults having small group ministry. Young adults need it, singles need it, married folk need it, young people need it, because you preach on Sunday and we're getting our spiritual uplifting, but I got to live from Monday to Friday. And then Lord knows I got to cross over on Saturday. And so when I have that small group ministry and that young people are able to share and talk and, let their hair down and really say, listen, I'm struggling in this area, or I just need some help. Like, I read this passage of scripture, but I'm not really sure what it means. But without judgment, be able to help them navigate life. I mean, life is real. Life outside of church is real. And I think we have to help them to navigate that. So if we are allowing ourselves to be open.
Big words, a big word.
I think, we'll go a long way. Not just open the doors of the church, but open the doors of your heart. And then after that, open your wallet, because it's going to take some money to do ministry.
Yes.
And then, if they see that you're invested, they'll be there, and then they'll begin to put there. And if you have some that are straddling the fence, talk to them and ask them why. And see how can maybe we'll have you a couple of the young people to do the message, or maybe they can do an interactive sermon, or while you preaching, a young person is doing a mime to it, or someone is doing sign language because they're in sign language class in high school. I think that this is a perfect time to allow young people to find their place in the church, have a seat at the table, and help us to do ministry in ways that we've never could have imagined. Something that probably would have took us another 20 years to get to. Wow. I think we've been catapulted into this digital world. And now it's time to take advantage of that and make sure that our young people are connected to the church, connected in their relationship with God, and connected to the community in which they live.
Y'all better pick up all these breadcrumbs. She is dropping trails. I hope you on the right path with this. Look, I need to get a manuscript of all these bullet points that you just talked about right here and share that. When you were speaking, you made me think of something as you were talking about that community piece and us bridging that gap, us going next door, us just starting small ministries, meeting up. Starbucks is still open, meeting up for a cup of coffee, a cup of tea. Let's read a scripture or two and just talk. We won't get to talk anymore in this digital world. We're talking like this, but that interaction is important. I couldn't help but think about the word community. This has been such a year. We had George Floyd, we have a pandemic, we have homeschooling, we just had this election season, and then the course of that season, yesterday's inauguration. For our children, thinking about social justice, because that's one area that the youth ministry encompasses and works with. Yeah. The local church and community, what can our youth do? What role can they play in that piece to where we're still meeting all requirements, right? And keeping our children safe, but still allowing them to advocate and be ambassadors for their social justice.
Right. I mean, I think, again, it, allow them the space to express how they're feeling. It's not, now we see the major cases that are all over the internet, all over the TV screens, but what about the cases that they have in their own backyards? Yes. Or what about their friends who they see these things happen to? And so helping them to, one, acknowledge that it's real, right? Racism is real.
Yes.
We thought it wasn't, it was buried, right? But over these last couple of years, it has just risen to just be right there, smack dab in front of your face. And so I'm helping them to understand how they're feeling, and helping them to understand that it's not about us going out and, well, they did this, now we're going to do this back. No, it's about being able to advocate, but in advocating, you have to educate yourself.
Yes.
So what you're advocating for. who you're advocating for. And it's not just because they did this to my family or they did this to my friend. I mean, that's a real emotion, and I'm not taking away from that, but having them to understand. So what are we going to fight for? What are we protesting for? What changes need to be made? And maybe having some conversations. Like I said to somebody, you know, with the whole election process, I feel like I went back to like high school. Like I must have missed a whole lot of classes because I didn't know all these little loopholes that was going on. And so helping them to know, here's what the law says, how can it be changed, and what are the procedures that we need to go legally to get these things happening. You know, knowing who your Congress people are, knowing who your, you know, the regular legislators, knowing who I mean, it's not about just voting in a general election. It's about every election. Your school board election is important.
Yes.
You know, the money that's being spent in your high school, you know, in your school district, knowing that you have a seat at the table even in that. And so we have to teach them how to advocate and to learn, what are you advocating for? How do we put a plan together? And not, you know, a lot of times that's what happens. Young people, they want to just go, ah! But if we actually sit them down and help them to put a plan in place, and then help them to go through the steps, connect them with the people. If social justice is not your ministry, it's okay. Connect them with someone whose social justice is their ministry.
Right.
And again, that's with helping people to know where your lane is. If we all stay in our lane, Jesus, we'll be okay, you know. But I think it's just important. And I think that they'll begin to learn how to advocate. You know, interestingly enough, when you have people who are in high school, middle school, about 6th, 7th grade, if you have special needs, you are then allowed to be at the table of your meetings, you know. And so if you can be invited to the table so that you can share how you're feeling or how you think you need to learn, I think the same thing needs to happen as we're doing all these things. So I'm excited that young people are speaking up. I'm excited that even that our young adults are treading the way as it relates to social justice, and they're helping to bring some young people along with them. I'm excited about that because, you know, they have an ally there. And they're learning that we don't have to fight fire with fire, but we can fight fire with education.
Yes, 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 yes. Adults, that message was for you too. That message was for you too. Look, I had to go back and read some legislative law myself, figure out what was going on.
Right.
Imagine if we as adults need that. I bet you that there are some students who could teach us as well, because they're in those history classes. They're taking government right now. Yes. So allow them to educate while you share wisdom back as well. So adults, that was a nugget for you. Creating a safe space as well is one thing that I drew from that particular statement of just allowing those babies, those youth, those teens and tweens to know that they can share what's really on their mind. They're witnessing these things in their backyard as well. So having someone that can be a good listening ear, no judgment, no shade, no cap, let it fly, let it go. So that way they can have that spiritual guidance on how to respond. That's so important. Miss CC, I only got one question left, but you know, this is just really, really good. So I don't know, but I got one question for you. So if you could provide a brief word of wisdom to emerging leaders in the CME church, what would it be?
I would say to first, everything that you do, to begin in prayer with everything that you do. And then follow your heart, find an advocate, an ally, a friend, a mentor that can help to lead you, someone who's been where you're trying to go. Find them, become friends with them, and partner with them in making changes or finding your place in ministry. Don't be afraid to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And stand firm on what you believe, and everything else will fall into place.
Man, teardrop, y'all. I feel it coming. I'm getting warm.
Okay.
As we prepare to go into the summer, because it's January. Y'all know time flies so fast. It's gonna be the summertime soon. Yes. We have a virtual event that is coming up. It is the Connection Youth and Young Adult Conference 2021.
21.
Virtual is gonna be a lot. Tell me, what can the youth expect at this new platform?
Wow. So first of all, this virtual conference is so, we couldn't have planned it any better that we had this. And I think having it virtual means that more people can come. It's going to be cheaper than it would have been initially. Now all you got to do is pay registration. What better thing is that? And if you are, shameless plug, if you've already paid $150, don't worry, you can actually give that extra $75 over to someone else and have a +1 come with you to the conference, right?
Hateful.
But the youth ministry, we have so many things going on. So we're going to have our college and career fair going on. We're going to have our virtual graduation. We're kicking off a new scholarship.
Hey, get them in, y'all.
We are having the VMA Awards, so Virtual Ministry Awards. Woo, we have like over 40 classes that they'll have an opportunity to take advantage of. We're going to have our Blue Couch Talk. We're going to elect new officers. We have so much going on. We're starting off with a youth leadership academy where we're training young people over a course of, I think, 4 months. And then they'll be able to be eligible to be the youth vice president and be a part of a leadership team. And I mean, when I tell you, we have so much going on, going on. But I'm excited that our young people have a seat at the table.
Yes.
We are planning with them in mind, and I'm so excited about what's going to happen. This virtual platform is amazing. One of our VPs was looking at the demo, and she was like, I feel like I'm walking in a hotel. I was like, and so to be able to, have the virtual world going on, to be able to have a lounge, we got some special treats. We're going to have a scavenger hunt. I have one of my ministry friends working on an escape game that we'll have inside of the virtual platform. There'll be so much going on. There'll be so much opportunity to fellowship with other people. So follow us on all of your social media platforms. We're under Connectional Youth Ministry or CYM, and you'll be able to be a part. Listen, someone is going to get lunch with me.
What?
So you got to make sure that you're connected to all of our things that are going to be going on. We're going to have some games going on in the course of the day. We got a lot going on. We have a college and career and technical signing day that we're having. So we have some like pre-conference things that are going to go on. And then we have a bunch of things that's going on in the midst of the conference. And so we want to make sure that, get your registration in. Make sure that you are plugged into everything, all your social media. Make sure that you are ready, because this CYAC 21 is going to be incredible. I'm excited in the background planning, and so I know that you're going to be excited. Don't worry, young people have helped us to plan this youth portion of the conference, and so we have some very, incredible things that are going to happen. And the fact that before you were only going to be able to have maybe 4, maybe 5 classes, but the way we've designed it now, they're going to be classes on demand. They're going to be live classes, semi-live classes. So at the end of the week, young people will be able to be a part of 40 different classes, all around ministry things that'll help them, not just, at the conference, but in their local church, in their community. There's so much that's going on. So stay connected. I can't wait to see you all virtually at CYAC 21.
You know what? You hype this up so much. I might just have to leave the young adult classes and come on over to the youth department and just get my young self on. Just get my young self on. So you know what? I cannot wait for it. I'm gonna be toggling back and forth between youth and young adults. And so to everyone out there, you don't want to miss this conference. It's coming up here over the summer. Please check your emails, check social media. If you need to contact anyone, we still on Facebook. The youth might not be, but you can find us on Facebook and we can give you guys more information all about it. All right. Reverend CC, thank you so much for your time, for sharing about the youth ministry and what it is that you do and what it is that you guys stand for. I appreciate your time today and all that you do for our wonderful, wonderful children. At this time, the floor is yours. Any final comments?
Just thank you for the opportunity to be able to share about a ministry that is so dear to my heart. As you can tell, I love youth ministry. I've been in it for over 20 years now. And I'm excited. And I think that, if anyone needs any assistance with youth ministries, please hit me up. I'm Reverend CC, Rev CC at the CME Church. So that's REVCECE at the CMEchurch.org. And I look forward to helping you in your ministry, to help you grow your ministry, connect with young people. And let's put them on fire, put them on the map as we all work together, getting back to the basics of helping all of our young people to be the best that God has created them to be, as we all work in unity to build a better church.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Youth, I look forward to seeing you guys this summer. And for everyone who is tuning in right now, just thank you guys for just joining this summit, for listening in, for tuning in, for just taking a part of this dialogue and this conversation. And so we wish you all much love, peace, and happiness and blessings. Amen and amen.
Amen.